St. Barts is the kind of place where superyachts outnumber taxis, where five-star hotels and Michelin-starred restaurants line the beaches, and where a single bottle of champagne can cost more than an average monthly rent. Every winter, billionaires, celebrities, and royalty descend on this tiny Caribbean island to escape the cold and indulge in one of the most exclusive social scenes on the planet. But St. Barts wasn't always a paradise for the ultra-wealthy. In fact, for most of its history, it was little more than a remote, rocky island with few resources and no real economy. So how did St. Barts transform into one of the most elite destinations in the world? A vacation in St. Barts doesn't come cheap. The island has just a handful of ultra-exclusive hotels, and many visitors opt to rent private villas instead, some of which cost $100,000 per week. The cost of dining, shopping, and even basic necessities is astronomical, with many products being flown in from France. The island has no casinos, no high-rise resorts, and no commercial cruise ships. This is by design. Unlike other Caribbean destinations that cater to mass tourism, St. Barts is engineered to be a gated paradise for the world's wealthiest travelers. The appeal isn't just the beaches, it's the privacy, the exclusivity, and the status of being able to afford it. But this wasn't always the case. For much of its early history, St. Barts was an overlooked island in the Caribbean, too dry for sugar plantations and too small for major trade. Unlike nearby islands that became economic powerhouses during the colonial era, St. Barts struggled. In the late 18th century, Sweden took control of the island, turning it into a free port to encourage commerce. But without natural resources or a strong economy, the island remained a relative backwater, known mostly for its small fishing villages and occasional pirate activity. Even after France regained control of St. Barts in 1878, it remained one of the poorest territories in the Caribbean, largely forgotten by the outside world. Then, in the 1950s, everything changed. A wave of wealthy European and American visitors, including the Rockefeller family, began discovering St. Barts as an off-the-radar retreat. David Rockefeller himself purchased a large estate on the island, setting off a chain reaction among the elite. Soon, St. Barts became a well-kept secret among high society, an untouched French-speaking escape where the rich could vacation without the press or the crowds of the Riviera. The island's economy began shifting toward catering to this ultra-wealthy clientele, and St. Barts' transformation into a luxury paradise was set in motion. By the 1970s, St. Barts had fully embraced its identity as a high-end destination. Unlike many Caribbean islands that pursued mass tourism, St. Barts took the opposite approach. The government placed strict regulations on development, banning large-scale resorts and casinos. Instead, the island focused on attracting low-volume, high-spending visitors, those who didn't just visit for a week, but spent lavishly while they were there. The French government supported this vision, ensuring that St. Barts retained its European charm, with gourmet restaurants, boutique hotels, and high-end shopping that felt more like the south of France than the Caribbean. St. Barts isn't just about money, it's about status. The island's elite social scene operates like a private club, where only the wealthiest and most well-connected can gain entry. Unlike Saint-Tropez, where paparazzi line the beaches hoping for a celebrity sighting, St. Barts offers total privacy. This is a place where billionaires mingle freely, where CEOs can strike deals on their yachts without prying eyes, and where A-list celebrities can enjoy a vacation without cameras following their every move. New Year's Eve in St. Barts has become the most exclusive party in the world, with some of the biggest names in entertainment, finance, and royalty flying in just for the night. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeff Bezos, and Beyoncé are regulars, with parties hosted by oligarchs and tech moguls on floating mansions worth $500 million. If you're on the guest list, you've truly made it. If you're not, there's no way in. Today, the island's real estate market is one of the most expensive in the world. Luxury villas on the island regularly sell for $20 million or more, and even modest homes can cost millions. There are no direct flights from the US, and commercial airlines don't land on the island. Instead, visitors arrive via private jet or yacht, with some of the world's biggest superyachts docking in Gustavia's harbour. The island's port is a spectacle in itself, with $500 million yachts lined up during peak season, hosting lavish parties attended by celebrities, royals, and billionaires. But despite its glamour, St. Barts faces a unique challenge. It has virtually no natural resources and relies almost entirely on imports for everything from food to electricity. The cost of maintaining this level of luxury is astronomical, and for the small local population, affordability is becoming an increasing concern. Many of the workers who keep the island running can't afford to live there, and while St. Barts remains a tax-free haven for the wealthy, it creates a stark contrast between the billionaires who vacation there and the people who serve them. To deal with this issue, many workers commute daily by ferry from nearby islands like St. Martin, where living costs are significantly lower. Others rely on employer-provided housing, but even that is becoming unsustainable as demand for real estate continues to rise. There is growing concern that St. Barts' increasing exclusivity may eventually push out its own workforce, making it harder for businesses to operate efficiently. Yet, despite these challenges, St. Barts continues to thrive. Part of the reason is its ability to adapt while maintaining exclusivity. The island has positioned itself not just as a luxury destination, but as a status symbol. Celebrities and billionaires don't just come here for the beaches. They come because being in St. Barts means being part of an elite club. The island is a place where people can mingle with other high-net-worth individuals, where luxury brands open pop-up boutiques just for the season, and where the world's wealthiest individuals can vacation without being bothered. And the future of St. Barts? If anything, it's only getting more exclusive. The island's leaders continue to enforce strict building regulations to prevent overdevelopment, ensuring that only the ultra-rich can afford to stay. Real estate prices are continuing to skyrocket, and even as climate change poses a growing threat to island destinations worldwide, St. Barts is investing heavily in infrastructure to protect its elite clientele. Rising sea levels and hurricanes are a major concern, but the island's billionaires are pouring money into climate resilience projects, ensuring that St. Barts remains a paradise, at least for those who can afford it. The question is, can St. Barts continue to be the ultimate playground for the rich without pricing out its own local population? Or will its exclusivity eventually work against it? St. Barts is just one of the world's elite retreats. But what if I told you there's another billionaire hideaway that's even more exclusive, more expensive, and even harder to reach? Click here to find out.